From stories across the world to stories here at home, this is the National News Broadcast. A very good evening to you. I'm Nika Sarakchandra.
And I'm Tarak Tiarachi. First, a look at the stories making the headlines this evening.
The total number of votes polled in the presidential election exceeds 80%. Counting of votes begins. The first election result before midnight tonight. Election Commission Chairman Mahinda Deshapriya says that the polls has been peaceful. Election observers also appreciate voting process. The Prime Minister says that for the first time it has been possible to conduct a free, fair and peaceful election. The President inspects construction of the China-Sri Lanka Friendship National Special Kidney Hospital. A severe uproar in Iran over escalation of oil prices.
For those stories and more, polling in the 7th executive presidential election of Sri Lanka has successfully concluded. Chairman of the Election Commission, Mahinda Deshapriya, says that the total percentage of votes cast has exceeded 80%. Ballot boxes were transported to the counting centres at 5 p.m. after the conclusion of polling, which has commenced at 7 a.m. Counting of postal votes has commenced at 5 p.m. Chairman of the Election Commission, Mahinda Deshapriya, says that the counting of other votes is also being conducted peacefully.
The recorded thing is highest is Hambantota, it has reached 85, but those are not actual figures. The lowest comes Mana, 62. But last year also, Mana 65. And average is 80%. But we hope it will definitely goes because postal votes are not here. I think at least 81 in between, 84 to 80. So now we have started postal vote is counting is going on. We hope, like as always, our Deputy Commissioner Ratnapura will send the Ratnapura postal vote results before 12, midnight 12. We hope we will reach it 11 a.m. around that.
The number of registered voters at the 2015 presidential election was 15.44 million. The number of votes cast at this election was 12.24 million. The percentage of polling in the 2015 presidential election was at 81.52%. 1.59,090,096 voters have become eligible to cast votes in the presidential election of 2019. It has also been reported that 947,606 more new voters have become eligible to vote in this year's presidential election in comparison to the presidential election of 2015. There were 12,845 polling centres in the presidential election. An increase of 531 counting centres has also been reported. Postal voting in the present presidential election has commenced on the 31st of October. More than 600,000 voters became eligible for postal voting. It has also been pointed out that more than 200,000 government officials were deployed in election duties. The longest ballot paper in history has also been prepared for this year's election as a result of the contesting of 35 candidates.
Now, the ballot boxes of the Colombo electoral district have already been transported to the counting centres. Chama Veerakudi from the National Television brings you a brief report from the counting centre at DS Naika College premises on this regard.
I'm now at the counting centre at DS Naika College in Colombo. The voting process of Colombo electoral district was held successfully and in a peaceful manner. The Colombo electoral district comprised of 15 electorates with over 1.6 million registered voters. More than 80% of the registered voters from the Colombo electoral district had casted their ballots today. The counting of votes is taking place at the counting centres in Royal College and DS Naika College in Colombo. The ballot boxes with the ballot papers from 1,175 polling stations have already been transported to the counting stations for counting purposes. The voting process was commenced at 7 a.m. today and it was ended at 5 p.m. The counting process commenced at 5:15 p.m. with the counting of the postal votes. The counting of the votes of the district was expected to commence at 8 p.m. According to the elections department, they are expecting to release the first results of the presidential election before midnight today. Reporting from DSNR College premises, I'm Chamal Virakodi from the National Television.
35 candidates have contested the presidential election, which was conducted today. All of the candidates have cast their vote at the respective polling centres. Presidential candidate of the New Democratic Front, Sajid Premadasa, has cast his vote at the polling booth in Suranimala Primary School in Hambantota. Presidential candidate of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, has cast his vote at the polling centre in Vivekarame in Pengrivatta. Presidential candidate of the National People's Power, Andukumara Disanayaka, has cast his vote at the polling booth in Abesingarame in Panchikavatta. Presidential candidate of the Frontline Socialist Party, Duminda Nagamua, has cast his vote at the polling centre of Veeramaddu Bandara Vidyalaya in Gonapula. Voting in the presidential election by the presidential candidate of the Janaseta Peramuna, Venerable Batramulle Sila Ratanatera, has taken place at the Sri Subhuti Vidyalaya in Batramulla. Presidential candidate of the Sri Lanka Socialist Party, Ajanta Vijayasinghe Perera, has voted at the Anand College in Ratanapitiya. Presidential candidate of the United Socialist Party, Siritunga Jayasuriya, has cast his vote at the polling centre in Ashokarame Vihare in Tibrigasaya. Voting by presidential candidate of the Sri Lanka Labour Party, ASP Liyanage, took place at the Susumaya Vardhana National School in Boralla. It was at the polling centre in Orutota, Nugahena Purana Vihare that presidential candidate of the National Development Front, Rohan Palyavatta, cast his vote. The Ape Jatika Peramur presidential candidate, Subramanian Gunaratnam, has voted at the voting centre in Mervyn Silva Community Hall in Grand Pass, Colombo.
Now, District Secretary Somaratna Vidhanapatirana says that voting in the district of Galle has been reported at 83%. Counting of postal votes is currently underway. Our correspondent Lahiru Lakmal says that the people of Galle district have contributed extensively for the election of the 7th executive president of Sri Lanka. More than 850,000 voters were eligible to cast their vote. They marked their preference at 712 voting centres. The ballot boxes were transported to the Technical College and Aloysius College in the Galle district. Counting of postal votes commenced at the Technical College around 5:15 p.m. The Sri Lanka Police Special Task Force and the Civil Defence Task Force have strengthened security operations. Lahiru Lakmal adds that more than 10,000 government officials are also engaged on election duty. The District Secretary adds that more than 2,500 police officials are also on duty. The District Secretary further said that the first postal voting result from the Galle district is expected to be announced around 10:30 p.m. tonight.
The President, the Prime Minister, the Speaker and the Opposition Leader have also cast their votes at the presidential election today.
මේක ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම ඉතා සාමකාමී ඡන්දයක්. එහෙම ඡන්දයක් ඇති කරන්න පුළුවන් වුණේ 2015 මේ ආණ්ඩුව ඇති කරපු ස්වාධීන කොමිෂන් ක්‍රමයක් අධිකරණයේ ස්වාධීනත්වයේ නිසා. ඒ බැවින් හොඳ සාමකාමී මැතිවරණයක් පැවැත්තුවා.
Now, polling was conducted successfully throughout the island from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. today. Our correspondents report that there has been a great interest among the voters to cast their votes in every district. A large group, including people's representatives, have voted at 12,845 polling centres. Now, Natalia Veeravardhana of Studio 3 of the National Television is now joining us to bring you the details of the speedy and most efficient manner of the presentation of official results by the National Television.
All right, I'm at the Studio 3 of Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. You are witnessing the live telecast we brought you from 7 a.m. today till 5 p.m. as the presidential election 2019 commenced early in the morning at 7 a.m. to elect the 7th executive president of Sri Lanka, the first citizen of the nation, the next first citizen rather. So yes, the National Television is ready to bring you the live telecast of the official results, which is going to be from 10 p.m. tonight. And we're expecting the first result to be ready for y'all as we receive it from the Elections Commission at midnight tonight. And from then till we get the final result, probably tomorrow or on Monday, we're going to be with you. We're going to bring you the updates live, first and fast from the national television with the assistance of our ICT team, the Rupavahini ICT team, where you are able to see now with me with all this setup, with these computers, these machines and the gigantic screen behind me. It's everything for you coming from the national television, as it is our responsibility that we are going to bring you these updates live, as we are going to take you through the results back from the presidential elections which were held back in the years 2010, 2015, and we're going back to the 90s as well, how the presidential elections took place here in the island. And as I mentioned, to elect the 7th executive president of Sri Lanka, the polling was commenced at 7 a.m. today at 12,845 polling centers today at different places in the country. So meanwhile, as we're going to bring you the official telecast with the national election, with the presidential election 2019, we're going to bring you more updates from this studio, this special studio which is prepared with all these technological efforts of the ICT team of Sri Lanka Rupavahini. And meanwhile, just to update you about the situation of the polling which commenced early in the morning today, whereas the number of electors, the highest number of electors are being reported from the Gampaha district, and at the second place we have the Colombo district, and then we have Kurunegala and Kandy district respectively, with the highest number of voters who were eligible to cast their votes at this year's presidential election. This is a very challenging decision to make, rather, to select the best out of the best. We had the 35 candidates for the presidential election, as well as the longest ever ballot paper in the election history of Sri Lanka. So with all that, the national television is ready to bring you the updates live from the national television, as well as Channel I in all 3 languages, as it will be from Sinhala, English and Tamil, with all the analysis of the previous years as well. So that being said, as I was briefing you about this, as we were bringing you the election telecast as well as the special results telecast until probably by tomorrow midnight or rather Monday. So stay tuned in. This is your television, the national television of Sri Lanka.
Thank you very much, Natalia. That was Natalia Veeravardhana from Studio 3 of the National Television. So stay tuned as we bring you the latest of the election updates.
We continue with the news. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says that for the first time, it was possible to conduct a free, fair and peaceful election. He points out that the 19th Constitutional Amendment became a tremendous boost to fulfill this objective. The Prime Minister has arrived at the Election Secretariat in Rajagiriya this evening to meet and have a discussion with the Chairman of the Election Commission, Mahinda Deshapriya. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe has extended his gratitude to the Election Commission for taking measures to conduct the presidential election in a free and fair manner. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said that for the first time they have observed that a presidential election was conducted without any problem. He added that the 19th Amendment has passed especially with the aim of conducting a free and fair election in the country. The Prime Minister further said that a presidential election is conducted with the aim of electing a new president, and it is not an occasion to cause harm to any person. He said that he wants to express his thanks to the Election Commission, its chairman and officials and all others, as well as the police, the tri-forces and other government servants for conducting a peaceful and free election. The Prime Minister added that they must be proud for being able to conduct a free and peaceful poll.
The international election monitors who have arrived in the island to inspect the presidential poll engaged in monitoring duties covering the entire country today. More than 80 monitors of the European Union are engaged in the presidential election monitoring process. Chief of the Monitoring Committee, Marisa Matias, has expressed her opinions to the media.
Overall, we have more than 80 people observing this electoral process. So we have 30 long-term observers in the field. We have 30 short-term observers. We have also the delegation of the European Parliament and the core team. And so we are in all the 9 provinces. in all the 22 electoral districts, and we are receiving information. The entire country, of course, as you can imagine, is more about a purely technical process in this moment, as the findings will be revealed only on Monday in our preliminary statement. But I had the opportunity to be in the opening of one polling station, and I have also already visited 2 additional polling stations. So I think that the most important is that this is the day for the people of Sri Lanka. This is their day for their being able to make their choices, and we are here to observe, and of course that's our main role.
20 observers of the South Asian Election Authorities Association and 15 observers of the Commonwealth are also engaged in the monitoring of the Sri Lankan presidential election. Now, Chairman of the Elections Commission, Mahinda Deshapriya, says that this was thus far the most peaceful presidential election held in the history of Sri Lanka. Now, he made these comments at a press conference in Colombo this evening.
Luckily, we don't have any serious injury. The first time in the first presidential election, I think we have, and then we have finished the election without serious incidents. I remember this my first election. I was a SPO in 1982. At that time, I was a SLS cadet, not in election department, but there was right, 82. 88, I think some of my age, if anyone is there, they can memorize those things, what happened 82 and 94 and 2000, 2005, 2010, 2015. So we have to thank all the politicians, including candidates and political activities, civilians, officers, civil officers, police officers, and journalists and all others. And my special thanks for the President, Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Leader of Opposition, and political party leaders who are representing the Parliament, MPs, everyone, they work together to conduct this free and fair election.
Election observers say that the overall activity of the presidential election has been peaceful.
Generally, in these elections, we can conclude it went in a peaceful manner, considering the pre-elections period, cooling period, as well as elections day. And when we compare with the past couple of presidential elections, the violence was quite reduced in these elections. Violations also reduced in these elections compared with the 2010 and 2015 elections. Even the cooling period, except the social media violations, there was no much violence or violation reported during cooling period. So, as an election monitoring organization, we can sum up this election and we can say this the 2019 presidential elections went in a peaceful manner, and also the voter turnout also quite high in these elections. Somewhere around 80 to 85 we have reported, except the north and east area. North and east also a fairly high number. It could be somewhere around 75 to 80%. So this turnout is generally acceptable, and generally the high turnout. So as a observer group, we are really happy with the election environment.
Election Monitoring Mission Center for Monitoring Election Violence deployed more than 300 static and mobile observers around the country on selected polling stations. Accordingly, actually, we were able to cover 1/3 polling stations in the country, at least 4,000 polling stations around the country. So far, we have received 173 incidents. Out of 173 incidents, there were very few election-related violence as well as violence incidents. Accordingly, when comparing with past elections, we should say that relatively free and fair these presidential elections. Actually, we are observing that after 2015, we are observing very calm and free and fair elections in the country. In this situation, actually, we have to thank Election Commission members, acting IGP of Police, Assistant and Deputy Commissioners of all district level election officers.
Now, the police say that polling concluded in the most free, fair and peaceful manner. Police media spokesman SSP Ruwan Gunasekara made these remarks at a media briefing this evening. Police media spokesman SSP Ruan Gunasekara said that they, as the Sri Lanka police, have been able to extend necessary maximum security to conduct the polls in an extremely peaceful manner. Not a single serious incident has been reported so far. He further said that at commencement of polling, more than 25,700 police officials were deployed on duty. The police media spokesman further said that a further contingent of 25,700 were assigned on duty at polling booths. He also added that more than 3,000 mobile police patrols have also been placed to extend security to every polling centre. SSP Ruan Gunasekar also said that at present more than 50 officials have been placed on duty to provide security to voting centres under the leadership of a senior superintendent of police. He added that 8 persons who have photographed marked ballot papers were taken into custody. The police media spokesman further said that 18 persons who were loitering around polling stations obstructing duty at the polling booths were also arrested. He also said that it is prohibited to conduct meetings and processions for a period of 1 week after declaration of the election results. Welcome back. On to more stories from home now. President Maithripala Sirisena engaged in an observation tour at the construction site of the China-Sri Lanka Friendship National Special Kidney Hospital today. The President, upon arrival at the hospital premises this morning, instructed officials to speedily complete the project in the interest of the innocent people suffering from kidney disease. 70% of construction of the hospital has been completed. It is anticipated to complete construction by the 30th of July next year and to vest it with the public. The hospital is comprised of 204 beds, 100 dialysis machines, kidney transplanting theatres, world's most modern research centres and ultra-technical facilities. The total cost of the project is 12 billion rupees. It is an outright gift of the Republic of China to Sri Lanka. The hospital is the outcome of an official tour of President Maithripala Sirisena in China in March of 2015. The President during the tour had been able to conduct discussions with Chinese President Xi Jinping on the construction of the hospital. A special felicitation medal has been presented to President Maithripala Sirisena in recognition of his fullest sponsorship and continuous guidance in his capacity as the pioneer who bequeathed the National Special Kidney Hospital to the nation. Director of the Polonnaruwa General Hospital, Dr. Indika Sampath Kumar, and other officials were also present at the occasion.
The Department of Meteorology forecasts a high probability of intermittent thunder showers accompanied with lightning in several locations in several districts and provinces in the island. In certain places, a fairly strong rainfall exceeding 100 millimeters could be expected. The weather report adds that the districts of Galle, Matara, Anuradhapura and Mana in the western, central, Sabaragamu and northwestern provinces may experience intermittent thunder showers and strong lightning from place to place, especially in the evenings or at night. The Met Department also predicts short-term fairly strong winds at speeds between 70 to 80 kilometers per hour may take place along with thunder showers. The department requests the general public to follow safety procedures at times of thunder showers and lightning. That's all the news we have for you tonight. Stay tuned with the national news broadcast, with its elections broadcast. And until you see us, a very good night to you all.
Good night.